And I was just literally thinking as well, I don't even know how to say it, but like...
It's going to be nerve-wracking at first.
It is nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking now, but it's going to be... I feel like you'll get into it and you'll be like, right, because you'll get on a roll with yourself. It'll just start coming back to you. And you'll be able to talk from experience rather than forcing yourself to talk to the camera.
It feels really weird to film this and sit down and address a camera, something that I've never done before. As intimidating as it might be, I want to do this. I want to share what happened to me. I hope that me being open about this, this really personal part of my life, will make people question how they're living theirs, because if I'd seen a video like this, I think that I probably still would have thought it would never happen to me. But I do think I would have taken the time to listen to that person and hear them out. And then such little changes could really just prevent such a big aftermath. It will be quite graphic in certain points, I think. I don't know what will happen from this at all, but if people listen, I really appreciate that. I think something that's really strange is that I haven't gone through the night of the attack for so long, properly, and not in a way where it was my choice to talk about it.
I think the difference is now, though, that you're now ready to speak and not being forced to tell the story for the sake of anybody else. You're coming forward and realise that you want to help, and that's the main point of like what we're doing. So
doing this, I knew I needed to be responsible about it for myself. So that is why I've got Ryan with me. You've been there through everything, and after we've like turned the cameras off and stuff, I'll have you there to like look after me as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah.
It does mean.
So, if at any point you want to stop and restart and come back to it later and take a breather or anything like that, just know that you can do that as well.
Yeah. You can't escape sexual assault. You just can't. But at the same time, putting certain things into place, you're going to be less of a target out there than this sort of a thing. Just, it might not happen to you. I was out celebrating for a good friend of mine's 21st birthday. We all decided to get a taxi to town, and then by town I mean Liverpool. We went to a few bars, and then at the second, and I stopped drinking at midnight. I think that's something I need to justify in a way. I'd sobered up, definitely. I was in a right state of mind, so that does make it a lot harder to look back on in terms of the fact that I made that choice that night. It's a consequence I've had to face from it. And then at about 2:30, I think I was ready to go home. We'd met quite early at the pre-drink, so I'd been with everyone for quite a while, and we did stay in a big group, but I just kind of was ready to go to bed. So what I did was I snuck away from the group, and I sent a text saying, "Thanks for such a great night. I'm going to make my own way home now. I don't want you to feel like you have to end yours." Because it was quite early, really, for like a night out. Did look at taxi times, and they were up to about half an hour wait, half an hour to 40 minutes. Because if you weigh out the options there of half an hour wait and a 15-minute walk, I just thought, I'm gonna just start walking.
I think it's important to say as well that such an innocent decision then was obviously turned into what it turned into, but we probably do that a lot of the time in daily life, is justify things that on the 90% of occasions would be okay to do, but it just takes that one time, and I don't think that people understand that as much as they probably should do.
Yeah, and it's something now that I can't not think about.
Yeah, I know.
What makes the situation worse to me is that I put my headphones in.
Right.
It baffles me how comfortable I was.
Is that something you'd do on every other night out that you'd been on, or?
No, I'd never done that before, actually. Now that I think about it, I'd never done it before.
Both earphones as well, or just the one?
Which makes you just so less aware of your surroundings. Yeah. I'm just angry that I was so naive. Like I made that choice, and I started walking, headphones in, and I think as well, because there was quite a few people there in the city centre at this point, I thought I'm going to be fine. Like if something did happen, then someone's going to see it. Do you know what I mean? And as I did start walking, you get further out of the centre, and I didn't click to it. I was kind of getting into relax mode, ready for bed. And I wasn't aware of my surroundings at all.
And at this point, he'd followed you from the town centre, which is a mile from where you were living, on foot. So
I think it was Lime Street, like the train station that he started following me from. And that's the bit where you're out of the centre.
Just about to get
just
to.
Enough to not be around people.
I think you've said before that, yeah, you might feel bad for the mistake of putting earphones in and stuff like that, but if it wasn't going to be you, it would have probably been someone else. So those signs like that he was looking for of somebody singled out on their own, walking somewhere that was a bit out of it and a bit quieter, that's the sort of thing I'd imagine that he'd probably look for.
I got out of the city centre and was walking, and so I turned over my shoulder to like check both ways of the road, and I crossed. I didn't see anyone behind me, and it wasn't until I was in court that you can literally see from the CCTV that he hid behind a car as I turned around so that I wouldn't see him. Right. Apparently that added towards his sentence because it showed his malicious intent.
Yeah, it's premeditated.
He was gonna do it. After that, I carried on walking, and I wasn't far from my home at this point. And I started fidgeting in my bag to get my keys out. I was literally across the road from my accommodation when it happened. So I started fidgeting in my bag, and oh God, I got the shakes. I was getting my key out, and as I looked over my shoulder, I could see this hooded figure. And he had like a mask over his face, and you could just see his eyes. I didn't see his eyes though. And I thought, oh, he's a student at the accommodation. He's probably just coming in after a fag or something. And then he barged into me on my shoulder, and I thought, oh God, I've just probably stumbled a bit and gone into him. And I was sorry. I apologised to him for barging into him, and then...
When he'd in fact barged into you?
He'd barged into me. The next thing I know is he grabs my shoulders and spins me around, and in that moment I was just like, what the fuck, what is this guy doing? You just feel this sense of danger that just instantly hits you, and I screamed. Can't believe I screamed because I didn't even remember that I'd screamed. I still now don't remember screaming. And when I started screaming, his hands came from off my shoulder, and one of them went into my mouth, and he started pressing down on my jaw so that I'd stop screaming, and I stopped because it fucking hurt. And then I fell to the ground, and I was on my back, and he stood towering over me. He said to me, "Give me your money." I just shoved my bag to him. I just, take it, take what you want. Take all money, I don't care.
Yeah.
And he took my bag and he tossed it to the side. And I was just so confused, why have you asked for my money and then just thrown my bag away? And he went around me and he grabbed my hair and he grabbed my shoulder and he started dragging me. My back was being grazed all over the ground, and then my hair was being tugged, and if the pain wasn't enough, I just saw my stuff in front of me. My phone, my headphones, my bag now as well, and I just thought, that is what people will use to come looking for me. I didn't know what was going to happen at that point at all. I didn't know if he was going to tell me to get up and follow him somewhere or what. I didn't have a clue what was about to happen. There was a wall and some bushes, and he dragged me over it. And I said to him, "Are you okay?" I don't even know where I'd seen it, but apparently there's some kind of weird psychological thing you're supposed to say, "Are you okay?" So they'll snap back to themselves if they're a good person. I said, "Are you okay?" And no response at all.
I think it's in an attempt to show them that you understand they're a human and they're
Yeah.
not this big scary thing that they're trying to do, or they're not the act that they're trying to commit, is just saying, are you okay? Like, and it sort of like resonates with them, or at least attempts to resonate with them.
I didn't remember this bit now until 3 months after it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was when he pushed me into the bushes, my hands went down and I thought, I'm about to be raped. When you think that as well, though, you also think a million other things of prepare yourself, you're gonna be okay, like, you don't even know how to get out of it, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, you weren't aware of what was going to happen after.
I thought he had a weapon.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, literally, when he said that bit of give me your money, I remember his pockets looked quite full.
Right.
And it looked like he had a weapon. I genuinely thought he had like a knife on him.
Because he was wearing like a puffer jacket.
Yeah. I was just completely at his mercy by this point. And there was nothing that was going to change what was going to happen. You can't describe it. It's just so sad. Really sad. Just an innocent girl thinking the best in the world. That was the hardest part because I said my goodbyes to myself. I just thought, wherever I go, I'm gonna find some kind of peace. I've had a good life, like. Thought, Ryan, I'm so thankful to have had you, and I'm just so thankful. And then, oh God, the bit about my family. I just thought, this cannot be their life afterwards. I hope that they get past this. We don't deserve to live the rest of their life asking questions, fighting for me. They deserve to be happy. And honestly, it just felt like forever. It really did. And this man comes around the corner. He just went, what the fuck's going on? At this point, my rapist pulled up his pants, said, oh shit, and started running. And at that point, I put my head in my hands and just started crying. He just put his hand on me, and I was like nervous at that point because I just thought, is this a joke or something? I don't know. You don't know what to think. Like, is he actually here to help? I've just come across someone who's done something so terrible. Is this person actually going to help me?
I think that's a big indicator that your trust and sort of that innocence has been taken from you, and the effects of that start immediately.
And he said, come on, let's go, it's okay. And he got me up and we went around the corner and I just saw all my things there. And after you've just gone through that mental strain of thinking all those things and saying goodbye and all of that, to see it and you have kind of some kind of hope that it's going to be all right. It's just like picking it all up. And his girlfriend was there and she was like, you okay? And the man said, do you want me to call the police? I said, yeah, call them. We went inside and I was just a wreck at this point, and they got to me so fast, the police. I don't know who I rang first at all.
Me.
Was it?
I think you said that it might have been me. The police officer asked you to call like somebody close to you.
Someone close, yeah, they did.
Yeah. I didn't pick up, so it might be like beneficial to talk about that because now I pick up the phone every single time somebody rings me, just out of regret in a way. Because I knew you'd been out on a night out, and I think because it was so late, that's what I assumed it was. And I briefly remember seeing the phone call whilst half asleep and choosing not to pick it up, and that's obviously something that I like struggle with and think about all the time as well. Kind of made me feel a little bit better that, you know, it wasn't before it wasn't something that I could have prevented. It was after, but I just wish I would have been there with you after.
So the first person that did pick up was my dad. And I didn't ring my mum at this point because she was away with her girlfriend in the Lake District, I think it was. I think.
Somewhere.
They were having a nice time. So my dad picked up, and I don't even remember what I said to him, but obviously I was crying, and I just said something like, "This man's attacked me." I can't believe how fast he got to me. I think he cut the time in half, like, I do, genuinely. And after we'd finished doing the statement, I couldn't take a shower. And you feel dirty. I had mud under my nails from the ground that I'd been in. I felt sweaty from like the panting and being frantic. And she had to take a picture of my face. She had to take my clothes, and I got into bed with my dad because it was like 6 a.m. at this point. I could not sleep. Do you know what I mean? Like when you feel that disgusting anyway. Like I saw on Facebook that my mum had posted something. So we rang her and we FaceTimed her, and she's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "I need to tell you something." And she was like, "Okay." I said, "Okay, well." And then I just broke down. I couldn't say it. Where do you start saying something like that? She's like, "What's happened? What's happened?" And he said, "Well, has been attacked tonight."
So the terminology that you used was like the word attacked. And
Yeah.
like, is that from refraining from saying like anything else? Like, I've been raped? Or, because I can imagine that those words are not easy to say so soon after that it's happened.
My dad then said, "God, it's worse. He's forced her to do stuff."
Yeah, forced himself upon you.
Yeah, that's it. And at this point as well, my boyfriend Ryan didn't know. This is very frustrating, by the way. Ryan.
Right.
Boyfriend Ryan, best friend Ryan. Sorry. I did try to ring him, but his phone had gone down the side of his bed, I think, and he said he didn't hear it. And
which is, again, like something that happens.
Feel what you felt. So through the night, I'd been texting him saying, "Ryan, I don't know how to say this, but I've been sexually assaulted tonight. Please call me when you get this." I think then that's when I knew, like, this is going to affect my family and my friends more than anything, like, as well as me. And
because I remember waking up in the morning and you calling me as well. And obviously I'd missed the ones in the night time, but I can't remember whether it was a text or whether it was like a call me when you see this sort of thing or something along them lines anyway. When you rang, it was awful because I could hear like there was no emotion in your voice in a way. It just like, I could tell how numb you were through the phone. It was awful. I know how like that feels as well.
to get that call.
Yeah. Because
I've never asked you that, like what you did afterwards.
Well, like I said, I had work, but it wasn't until like a few hours after. So literally up until the time that I went in was like not good. Also the shittest shift ever as well.
Oh God, I can imagine. Like, work's hard enough. When I had the forensics, which was like blood tests, swabs, all that, I went and got a few things, and we drove home, and my sister was there, Ryan was there. I didn't feel anything. Felt like I didn't care. Like, what was there to be happy about? What was there to look forward to? I didn't feel like myself at all. The next day, you're like in contact with the police over text and over the phone and stuff. I had to go in and do a video statement. When you go, you sit in a room, you literally walk through like we've just done, but like, I think you've got to be specific as you can. And I remember they said, "Did he have gloves on?" Don't know to this day if he had gloves on. Did he sound like anything? Did he have an accent? Don't know. I remember for like months afterwards, I just saw him as like the hood.
Yeah.
This hooded figure. I went to speak to Ruth, my lecturer. I went in, she's amazing, You know Ruth.
I do know Ruth. She's a good woman.
Brilliant woman. She holds a special place in my heart, that woman.
Same.
I went in and just said, I got something to say, like it's not easy. And then articles had started being released at this point saying a girl's been raped on this night, da, da, da. And she said, please don't tell me about that girl that I've read about in the Echo. I told her what happened and she was just like, you can either take a gap year and come back in January 2021. Understanding and amazing, and made me feel like I had options as well. Things slowly started happening in the healing process that were just difficult. You know, they just like flashbacks that you don't expect to happen. Waking up from nightmares. I don't think I slept alone until like 6 weeks after it happened. Ryan was with me every night. I'd wake up crying. It's a lot for him to take in as well. When you're a couple, you work together through your problems, and then all of a sudden, he's just the one trying to sort my problems, and you don't know what to do. Police did amazing, so fast. And then they said that he pleaded guilty.
I think they found him sort of fast because he'd done this before. It wasn't his first attack, and they must have pieced together the area, the kind of attack and things like that.
After it happened and I was having this time to myself, I was so surprised at how many times in the news I heard a girl's been raped, a girl's been attacked. Honestly, it's on the radio and the TV all the time. There's so many people out there that do this thing and want to go out and do this thing. I'm more self-aware. I've had to face topics that I never would think that I'd have to. And I might be more stressy now. My sister probably thinks that.
Well, I don't.
You don't have to live with me. But I hope that the people close to me understand that my stresses come from my fear that I want them to be okay. And I think that's the thing, you become overprotective of the people you love.
You expect somebody that's been through that terror to not be all right and to be for it to throw them off. And I think you've done a really, really good job of keeping yourself on track and bettering yourself in a way. Owe it to yourself more than anything.
It's such a taboo topic. I need to stress this now, that when something like this happens, you keep it to yourself. It can be a private thing if you want it to be. Now that I'm deciding to do this, a lot of people might see why I am the way I am and why I care so much about how people get home and why I care about if people are being conscious in their choices, because no one deserves this to happen to them at all. You deserve to be safe and do what you've got to do that. It's so important. And if this does happen to you, which I pray that it doesn't, there are support systems out there. It takes time, but you're going to do it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you as well.